Ahoy, crypto pirates. Welcome to Discourse Syndicate, Chatting with the Captain. I am your captain, RG3, bringing you another episode of Chatting with the Captain. Guys, we haven't been on for a while. I've been stuck at Burning Man, out on tour, missing Mondays, missing all these days, but finally back on a Monday. Next Monday, going to be back too. Maybe we'll see. But glad to finally be back in the saddle, streaming again, talking all the Hexkins, especially now with what we got going on with the spare market. A lot of cool things happening, a lot of stuff we should be talking about. But tonight, we're going to talk about what's going on this next weekend in Atlanta, in hot Atlanta. We got the Pulse Chain Tour Masterclass event going on at the Atlanta Blockchain Center. Actually, we actually have the blockchain center that we've gotten into by the graces of the founder there. They're letting us do our presentation to talk to all of you about DeFi at the blockchain center. So this is going to be very cool. And then we've got a Hexagon coming in, talking security and all kinds of cool stuff. So anyway, let me say hello to the chat room. You guys are always my favorites, my Hexagons that support. How's it going, everybody? CZ, good to see you in the chat room, CZ. And Orion, thanks, Captain, my captain. Yes, I am your captain, here to bring it to you. Not going to stop, not going to apologize. Going to keep doing it. Been here 4 years, telling everybody to do the right thing, which is get yourself into real DeFi, into true DeFi. You know, we've been waiting for it. We've been waiting for DeFi to rear its ugly head since Satoshi wrote his white paper. They've screwed around with our crypto. They've destroyed the whole ecosystem with their scam coins, their promise coins, their L1s that don't work, their centralized exchanges, their centralized entities buying in on all of these different cryptos, selling and buying companies so that they can bring you products that fit within the fiat world. And all the while, Richard Hart and all of us here who've been here from the beginning have been saying, get out of that mess. Get into true DeFi. Look, remember, only a couple of cryptocurrencies have ever been worth a crap. All they did was proof concepts. Bitcoin, thank you, Bitcoin, for doing what you did. It proved a concept. Time to move on. Ethereum came in, proved a concept. Time to move on. Now we've got true DeFi. When Hex came out, we finally had a true DeFi cryptocurrency, true DeFi that actually did something very, very cool, which allowed you to do what most people want to do is generate yield with their crypto. Instead of just holding it, why can't you generate yield? Why don't we have something that can do that? Well, Hex is that one product that finally came out that can do that. And I'm so glad that Richard launched that first. Now, supposedly he made Pulse Chain to fix what was going on with Ethereum, to decentralize the L1. And by God, he's done it. Pulse Chain is the most decentralized L1 in all of crypto. Nobody can refute that. Nobody can say that it's garbage, that it's gone down, that it doesn't work. It's only been running 4 months. Still got to proof itself. Still does. I admit that. But it's doing a damn good job so far. And because of all the validators that have come online, we're 41,000 plus validators right now. Freaking huge. That is huge. So Pulse Chain's killing it. It's doing what it's supposed to do, even in this bear market. Guys, don't forget, we're in a bear market. This is one of the most brutal, deep cut bear markets that we've ever had to face. Some of us have been around for a few seasons and had to deal with some pretty brutal ones. Well, now this one has cut deep and it's been long. So bear with it. It is, this too shall pass. There's nothing new under the sun. The charts change just like the winds. And it will. It will change. We will see brighter days. We will see a bull market. The crypto is not going anywhere. In fact, you look at what's going on out there. All of the institutions are starting to create their own private blockchains. They want in this game. And now we have connectivity between all of the blockchains, the privates and the publics going on. A lot of good stuff happening in crypto. And this next bull market is going to be super exciting, super, super exciting. So hold on to your pants, get ready. It's coming. We're not going to stop. The Pulse Chain Tour, even though we've had a lackluster showing, I sure wish you would all come out to Atlanta, because anyone who's in the Atlanta area, go get your tickets at pulsechaintour.com and come see us over at the Blockchain Center. You're going to get to hear from the founder here in a minute, and come hang out with us and stay after, party after the party. That's where all the cool crypto stuff is talked about. And we do, if you've got new people coming in, we do a very good job of getting the history of crypto out to everybody, and the old information, and then exactly where it has gone and where it is today and where it's going in DeFi, and what the Richard Hart ecosystem looks like. So get there, come see us. I think I see everybody in the green room. Their cameras are off, but I hope everybody's working, or maybe they don't want to turn their cameras on. So the gentleman I'm going to bring up first, he is the founder of the Atlanta Blockchain Center, and he's got quite a history, and there's quite a story here to be told. I got a little piece of it, so we're going to get to talk to him about that. And then if you want to come down and hang with us, we're going to be with him this weekend out in Atlanta. So without any more time here, I'm going to bring up my friend here, Marlon. How you doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to finally meet you. I've heard a lot about you from my team, my road manager, and obviously SJ. She's out there with you right now in Atlanta. They've told me a lot, and I can't wait to hear your story from your mouth to my ears. So why don't you explain to us what the Blockchain Center in Atlanta actually does? What are you guys doing?
Sure. So, the mission of the center really is to put Atlanta on the map as a blockchain innovation hub. Atlanta has a lot of stats, RG. I'm telling you, it's, the place that processes most of the credit card transactions that we do. So when you're traveling and you're swiping your card, there's a 70% chance that swipe is coming through the infrastructure in Atlanta. So that's why it's known as the fintech payments hub of the world. And there's a ton of large companies in Atlanta. I think out of the Fortune 500, there's 17 Fortune 500 companies headquartered in Atlanta, like UPS, Home Depot, Delta, Coca-Cola, and others. And I'm from Miami, Florida originally. I actually moved here, or expanded here, I would say, 3 years ago. And what I was really shocked about was the fact that in a city with those stats that I mentioned, and there's a lot of other cool stuff too, like Georgia Tech being the number 4, number 5 top engineering school in the country, right here in Atlanta. And there's Morehouse, where Martin Luther King went to school, and he was born in Atlanta. And there's a rich civil rights history. It's so diverse and so many great people. So I started coming here, and I was like, where's the blockchain community? How can a city like this, with all of these amazing things, not have like someone who's leading, or at least, evangelizing and promoting blockchain technology? So that was the inception of, how we came to be. And the mission now is to kind of bring everyone together around the Atlanta ecosystem, to put Atlanta on the map as a blockchain innovation hub for some of the reasons I just mentioned. So you can imagine like how much, as a developer, my brain was just flowing. If we came up with great ideas for blockchain that had to do with supply chain and logistics, we can go to Home Depot, go to UPS, literally knock on their door and say, hey, we have this product. We have access to a lot of the large companies here. So this is a perfect city for you to innovate and experiment with blockchain and, realize its full potential.
Yeah, I learned that during my travels as an entrepreneur, going through Atlanta, and of course, Delta being my favorite airline, the hub is there. So every time I flew through the South or flew across the country, I ended up in Atlanta, you know, and a lot of seminars. Been to a lot of seminars out there, you know, from telecom seminars to crypto seminars. Yeah, Atlanta is a hotbed, that's for sure, of innovation and entrepreneurialism and big companies. So very, very cool. So what is it at the Blockchain Association? What kind of events do you guys hold, or what do you do? Do you have classes there, or what happens?
Yeah, sure. So, I felt like with the mission that I just described that we're on, we needed to focus on a few things. One was events, right? And the events were designed to bring the community together. There's a lot of people working at Web3 in
Mm,
Atlanta. Coinbase alone, the last number I think was 40 something employees uh, were based in Atlanta from Coinbase. So some work with Polygon and other institutions that's in the space. But there's a lot of people here that actually work in the blockchain industry, but there was no
sure.
one or no entity bringing everyone together. So that's why I thought focusing on community was a very important thing. So now
Mm,
everyone in the space have a place to go to network, to connect, share ideas, and learn. Right. So we decided to do events every single Thursday, like
okay.
weekly. So that's free food, free drinks, free education to the entire Atlanta community since we opened. I got the space in February in 2022, and we spent like 4 months renovating. So we opened in June 2022. So over a year now, we've had weekly events for the entire Atlanta ecosystem, free to come learn about blockchain. Um,
How
and
many people usually have show up on a Thursday?
Oh man. So here's the funny thing, right? We Our grand opening was June 13th, 2022.
Uh-huh.
Celsius had just paused withdrawals like that morning, like early that morning.
Uh,
Right? So we're having a party, we're out where, and I'm waiting for people to come and ask me, like, hey, what's going on with the price? What's the industry? You guys are just opening. Is this the end? Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So in the beginning, I said all that to say in the beginning, we had the packed house, every room was filled up. As the Celsius thing happened, the day that we opened to, FTX and just a lot of the stuff that we've seen, the SEC's ridiculous approach, we saw less and less turnout. So the average, I would say, is around 30 people.
Mhm.
Before it was, 60, 70, like I said, just, packed house. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
market certainly affected the turnout for sure, but the average is between, 20, 30 now. The people that come, they want to be there because they don't care about pricing. And that's what I love to see.
Yeah, and that's the diehards. That's the core group of your community that you have. It's funny that you mentioned that community. You know, you did what you did to build community. I think you and I may both be on the same page. The reason I built this channel and started streaming in the first place was to help build community. Because what I understood was when I read Satoshi's white paper, and when I understood what crypto was that it was we, the people, that were going to be doing the marketing. It was we, the people, that were going to get the benefits of this crypto being launched into the ether, that we were going to be able to take control, that we were going to be the ones that innovate, that we were going to be the ones that market and get the word out to the world, because Satoshi was gone. You know, it was the community that was going to do it. So I took it upon myself to go, hey, we've got to start building community. And that's how we're going to market this thing. A story needs to be told. People need to understand what it's about. And we can do that through the network effect, you know? And so that's what I think by both you and I were actually trying to develop community and get the word out. Is that true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, man. 100%. And I think that's why we placed a huge emphasis on the events and doing it weekly, because I would travel here from Miami and I would be like Googling what's happening in Atlanta for blockchain. There would be absolutely nothing. Or sometimes I came, there would be something this week, but nothing, the week, like for the next few weeks. And it just it was sporadic and inconsistent, um, which I thought was not uh, in line with a city that again has so many amazing things about it, and had the potential to do some amazing things in blockchain. So community is very important. extremely important. The other part too, RG, is incubation, because we'll probably get to it briefly. My experience as a developer, I love people who like to create things. You know, I just don't think we should be simply consumers of what other people are creating. Right? We have the
Hmm.
same capacity, the same access to information and resources as everyone else on the planet. So I have an affinity towards people who love to build things, create things, whatever it is. It doesn't mean being a coder. You could be, you could be a specialist in marketing and just launch your own marketing company. Don't just be a marketing manager, or you could start there, right? But aspire for more. Aspire to work and do your thing
Hmm.
until you can launch your own initiative and venture. But incubation is a key part of the center as well. It's at the heart of what we do. We accept applications from anyone in Atlanta that wants to build on blockchain, and we sit with them in real life. We spend hours at the center every week, going through their ideas and just like chopping into pieces, and giving different advice on how to go to market in the blockchain space and how to build a blockchain based company. So I think that's very important as well.
Yeah. No. That's what our pulse chain, the L1 that was just launched in the ecosystem that we all spend our time in, is doing exactly that. It's you said incubation, right? Um, it's given people fertile soil to go out and actually build. With a truly decentralized L1 that has worked continuously since its launch, which it's only a few months old, but it's not having any problems, and it's doing exactly what it was supposed to do. So the projects that are coming out right now that are organic, that are community developed, that are not companies behind these things. These are individuals and like I said, grassroots developers that are building on this chain. So yeah, I like seeing that. I like the fact that communities are coming together and that organically, instead of institutions and institutional money and VCs, that dirty word, are doing it, that the communities are doing it, and like you guys are helping individuals, so you guys are fitting right in with our mantra, which is, we want DeFi, we want the blockchain and crypto to belong to the people, and the people to develop and market and work on it,
Right.
so I think that's what we need more of. That we need more we need more allies that are sitting on the same side of the fence, because a lot of the crypto people today, I mean, they're cheering on centralization. They want these centralized entities to pump their bags and bring the money into the system, and bull markets are fine, but at what cost do we continue to let them toy with us? They've done it 2 cycles in a row now, where they've brought institutional money in, and they've left and pulled the rug out from underneath everybody and took the percentages off the top and the bottom there, and let the fear and the FOMO and the FUD wreck all those regular people and destroy their crypto experience, bitter them, sour them to the whole experience. What do you think about that? Do you see the people out there in crypto cheering on the institutional money and just actually praying to the golden calf, if it's, please bring it, please.
Hey, man, you're preaching to the choir, man. I really see crypto as the means for us to fully gain financial independence and create generational wealth in a way that really isn't uh, gate kept or biased, right?
Mm,
And the more, and I'll say the names, the more A16Zs and large, Sequoia Capital and Union Square Ventures and all these big guys who control the Web2 ecosystem, right?
mhm,
The more I see them coming in, you know, the more I see, you know, it's like it's like 1984, right?
Mm.
With the man coming and telling everyone what to do, and that's what I'm afraid of with crypto is all of the large VCs coming in and taking over it by investing in a lot of the projects that we're using, right?
Mm.
Um, it's a lot of the old just coming into the new, and it's disrupting. It has a potential to disrupt the future. And that's exactly why at at the core of the center is incubation, because we want to get to the individuals who just want to build in this space, right? That aren't beholden to these large venture capitalists that are trying to get into crypto and be the powerhouses in crypto the same way
Mm.
that they are in Web 2, right? This new world that we're going to belongs to us, right?
Mm.
We need to fight the good fight and um, you know just continue to be a grassroots movement for the people because it was created by us and for us. Um,
Exactly.
when I look at stats like $330 billion in venture capital in 2021, 1% of that is going to diverse founders, like 1%. Actually in 2021, it was 1.3%. 2022 was down to 1%. Yet, the old guard is still there.
Hmm.
And it's time for us to make a change. And crypto is the way for us to do that. So I'm for independent builders. I represent startups every single day. As I mentioned, our mission at the center, our mission at the center is to elevate Atlanta as a top blockchain hub, and part of that is building community, nurturing startups, but also navigating the current environment. The enterprise scene here in Atlanta. So I'm constantly talking to legislators and um, those running these large companies to kind of bring everyone together to put the city on the map, but in a way that puts the people first. I'm always representing the individual founders first, and that's important. And I'm afraid that a lot of the things that's happening, we could lose sight of that.
Yeah, I love that because when you when you think of the tenets of crypto and you remember the Satoshi white paper and you think of the cypherpunks and what this was all about, what the what you and I have just been talking about, the power going into the hands of the people, and then you see the news and you see these big crypto. I won't even say their names, but you see them acquiring companies for $250 billion, $250 million, and they're bringing in the technology from that company that I'm watching individual developers build on our new L1. It's like we've got people that are putting their own hands and their own grit and their own work into building on something that is decentralized, that is giving them the ability to do so. And they're making it. And some of these companies are trying to front run this thing by, throwing dollars into it, throwing VC money into it. And we know what that means. We know that behind that money, behind all of that, there are controlling entities. And there are going to be people that are looking for ROI. And where's the ROI going to come from? Off the backs of all the people that are supposed to be trying to capitalize on this so that we can get our necks out from under the boot of these people, these VCs that have been doing this to us for all these years. And it's just kind of like more of the same is just coming in. And I hope I see the battle looming. I see, the battlefield being built, the lines being drawn, folks like you and I getting on one side and those standing on the other. I think that it's starting to come to fruition that there is going to be a battle here, and
Yeah.
I think that we're on the right side of history, to be completely honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things we recommend to founders all the time is, you got to that all money is good money, right?
Mm.
Um, you can't just accept a check from any VC or angel because there
What's the
are
saying, Marlon? Is it? behind every big fortune, there's a big crime.
Exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And the game is certainly rigged. I mean, I've seen a lot of what happens behind the scenes, and it's certainly self interest first, and many times, regardless of the damage that it could do to founders or their products. You know, so we warn founders all the time to be wary of where they're taking their checks from, because it is
Yes.
rigged. It's very rigged. These large investments, they've got to recoup it somehow.
They
They've
do.
got to get that back. You know what I mean?
They do.
There are
Or
VCs that will dump on you. There's a lot of market making and manipulation that happens behind the scene. It's slowly coming, and it's unfortunate. But
yeah, they're gonna get paid either way. Either through their capital return or whatever it is they're gonna make you do um, to make them happy. So it's
right,
one way or other, you're gonna pay. You know.
exactly. But I love that. The beauty of crypto is we will always have the ability um, to control the outcome, right? Meaning, for chains like Pulse Chain, that's completely decentralized, that there isn't one person that can stop the chain or determine the future of the chain. I mean, Richard launched it. I think every major initiative needs to start centralized, because someone has to have the vision. Look, a lot of people just don't have it in them to take that first step to do the right thing. So
Mhm.
we're always, society unfortunately is always going to need someone or group of people to spearhead any game changing and world changing initiative. And that's what Richard did with Pulse Chain. So you're always going to need that initial boost, right? By someone who's a forward thinker,
Mhm.
that's a go-getter, that's ready to just get things started.
You
But
need the visionary
you need the
that
visionary. You
launches.
always need the visionary, you know?
Yeah. I got
The
a
one,
question for you then.
yeah, sure.
You just mentioned Pulse Chain and spoke of it and very highly. When did you find out about Pulse Chain through our interactions with our team, or did you know about Pulse Chain before we actually came out to Atlanta to do our event?
Yeah. I sacrificed for Pulse Shade and PulseX. And I actually, you know, I've been in blockchain for a little while, and I was in this wax group, um, which I still am actually, but it's not active anymore. Some years ago, in late late 2019, there was in December 2019, there was this guy in the wax channel just ranting on about hex. you know
Yeah, that's what we did back then. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was just all in the wax group going crazy, man. And I was like, what is this? Because I was the chair of Wax's OIG, which is the Office of Inspector General. So my job was to help design the rules for the node operators, the validators for Wax.
Mhm.
So I did that for 9 months, early 2019 through the end of 2019. So it was just, I saw some Hexicans getting into the Wax group, and they were just promoting Hex, and that's when I got into it, just from a speculative perspective. So yeah, I got some tokens just for the hell of it. That same guy ended up, he and I ended up, DMing a few times, and he told me about Hex 2T, which was
Oh,
a fork of Hex in like DeFi summer. I forgot. I think it was like June or something.
yeah. That
Um,
was a an hourglass game.
do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember all of them, man. They came across my desk. Every single thing came across my desk. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was around for all of that, man. I didn't get into Hex 2T, but because most of my focus in this space is contributing and building, right?
Mhm.
But I would get tokens and just forget about them, because I'm usually building products in the space, and that's what I did with Hex and how I got involved. So I always knew about Richard and the both the good and bad over the years, because I've been in the space for a very long time as a contributor. So in 2021, when I found out about Pulse Chain and the sacrifice opened, I sacrificed for it and kind of forgot about it, until earlier this year. I knew that there were some delays in the launch, and so I would check in every now and then, but I wasn't pressed for it because, again, I was focusing on other things. I was actually building the blockchain center, for example, and incubating projects. I had a lot of things keeping me busy. But yeah, I'd sacrifice, and I've been following, what's going on.
Right on. Well, that's an interesting story that we've run into you, and you're actually part of the whole ecosystem itself, and that you saw what you saw. You already kind of expressed your opinions on crypto and the blockchain and decentralization, and kind of our core beliefs too. And then it's interesting that you've kind of been magnetized towards this whole ecosystem, PulseX, and the Hex product itself. So that's really cool to start running into people like you, because this community was gate kept hard from the beginning. I mean, Richard's products have been shunned by everybody else in crypto, especially
Oh, yeah.
when Maculus. And he didn't do us any favors by, doing the marketing techniques that he did, the outrage stuff that he did. So we had to fight even harder during all that time. But brilliant guy he is. He set us up to be honed from all of this gatekeeping and whatnot. But it's burned some of us up. It's sent some of us into hiding. We've got people hiding right now during this bear market from everything that they've faced. We just had a delisting from Uniswap, from a decentralized exchange, actually delisted a cryptocurrency from their exchange. I mean, completely exposing themselves as being a centralized entity. I don't even know why they would have done that, but they did. So hey, I guess that puts them on blast now for showing their true colors. But it doesn't affect anything in this ecosystem, but it has been a challenge, for us over and over and over again to have to continuously not only fight the system that's out there and the world of fiat and what's going on out there, but then to have to actually fight within crypto itself and deal with all the gatekeeping and whatnot that's going on. It's really a breath of fresh air to run into people that are actually out there doing things outside of what we've been doing that resonate, that have the same ideals. So, man, thanks for thanks for coming around and run into us, because it's really cool to finally see other people out in crypto that have the same ideals as us and that understand this ecosystem the same way we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I come from a very unorthodox sort of background. The way I got into
Let's hear that story.
Yeah, the way I got into computer programming, was when I was a teenager. I got into some trouble, and one of the options I had was this program, and I took the program, and they were teaching computer programming and business, and that was my first introduction to computer programming. I was like 16 at the time when I actually got into it, and I was like, what the hell is this thing? Like, I didn't even know, coming from the environment that I grew up in, that was a thing. And when I started typing and I saw that the computer was doing what I told it to do, RG, man, it really just, the light bulb just clicked, because I saw that I had the ability to create something myself that starts here, right? So whatever I conjured up in my mind, I could actually just type it and create it. And that to me represented a lot of power. So I've been a developer since then, since 1999. So I saw the e-commerce boom. I saw the whole Web 1, Web 2, and now Web 3. In 2003, I started a medical software startup. I sold it in 2008. I was, about 26. And that was the first time someone from my background saw that type of check coming, a legitimate check coming from, a business that I built. And just about a year and a half later, that's when I heard about Bitcoin. And I just followed along and started getting more and more involved 2011 through 2013 in Miami. I was one of the OGs in Miami evangelizing Bitcoin to friends and family when it was $1 to $2 billion market cap. But I've always been this just quiet builder behind the scenes, right? And then when Ethereum came out, that's when I started seeing ways to create things in blockchain. So started building smart contracts and all of that. So literally, I've been following the industry and just participating. I was mostly focused on building my SaaS company at the time as my day-to-day, but blockchain was just my nightly experiments of my moonlighting operations. And I started slowly just converting from, I would say it started consuming more and more of my time, and I started enjoying it a lot more than the traditional Web 2 tech scene. So what I saw in crypto, and before I say that actually, so, I spent a lot of time pitching my Web 2 companies. Would go to, New York, go to, California, just travel all around the country, raising funds in the traditional sense, and struggled to do so. Even with a company with traction, making several $100,000 a year in the first couple of years of the company, So the game has always been rigged, and I'm not a complainer. I love to get things done regardless. I feel that I was created in this sort of underdog environment, but that's where the winners are created, right? There's nothing that can break people like us, right?
Right.
We thrive in adversity. So that's my background. It was very adversarial, and I literally changed my entire life because of introduction to software development, and crypto is right in line with that. And that's why I resonate with the Hex community and the Pulse Chain community so much, is because a lot of us share the same values. If there's one criticism I would say, is that we need to realize that we have to support other initiatives and builders to build on Pulse Chain, because the more traction that we bring to the chain, the better it is for all of us.
Yes.
One of the I mentioned my experience with Wax, being the chairman of the OIG, but I'm a co-founder of Telos as well, the Telos blockchain. And we spent a lot of time trying to figure out, how do we get dApps to come to the chain? How do we build, and how to, set up a foundation and all this other stuff. I was right in the middle of that. So I know what it's like to launch an L1 and some of the decisions that you got to make to attract builders to it. So my only criticism of our community is we need a lot more builders to come to the chain, right? Not the VC backed builders like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, we need grassroots individual developers out there with visionaries. We need them to come in and put their brain power to work.
Absolutely. We need more products and services that are blockchain enabled in order for us to thrive. So
it's fertile ground. There's lots of room for people to come in here and develop.
That's exactly it. So I love this. I think I wouldn't want to work in any other industry than this.
Me neither, because you and I have basically a lot of similarities in our story. Because I was a blue collar worker as a millwright. I moved heavy equipment, built machines, machinery mover millwright. And on the side, in order to make ends meet, I live in Southern California. So in order to make ends meet, raise a family and all that kind of stuff, I always had to have a side hustle. And one of my side hustles ended up being in software development, and it was for a game called Counter-Strike. We were building social communities and websites and whatnot, and helped gamers actually professionally game against one another and whatnot. And we were building one of the first social media platforms in the gaming industry. This was back in 2006, 2005, and and we were getting ready to sell our software right at the crash of the .com boom. And so gaming, I like you, was out trying to sell my software all over the place, New York and LA at all the big conventions and whatnot. And we had buyers on the table, and then the .com boom went bust, and we ended up with a piece of software sitting on the shelf. But in that, I ended up in the IIRC chat rooms, and seeing the Bitcoin developers talking in there, and watching people like, what was his name? Gentleman that was selling in-game cryptocurrencies. Gosh dang it. You know who I'm talking. Yeah, Brock Pierce. So Brock Pierce was in there trying to sell us to put him in the game, world, and that was before, that was when NFTs and things were just coming out in the gaming world, and before Bitcoin, in-game cryptos. And then, of course, watching Bitcoin launch and going, that's just a glorified PayPal thing, and I get involved in it, and then
right.
And so the same thing. So, and then eventually, somebody asked me for some Bitcoin for some software work that they did. And I sent it to them, and I had some change left over in the wallet. A couple months later, somebody asked me, and that $35 in change turned into like $800. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. What's going on here? And then I spent the next 72 hours in the white paper, searching everything on Google, and just, oh my gosh, this is, world changing, earth-shattering stuff here that I got to get involved in. And that's kind of how I got involved in crypto, just like yourself, through the software world. And it's changed my life. It's changed my trajectory on what I'm doing. I've retired from, the world I was trading my spine for hours and dollars, trading my hours and my spine for dollars. And now, now I'm retired, and cryptocurrency, full-time job, full-time businesses. And we just go around the country just talking about, true DeFi, now that true DeFi exists with Pulse Chain and PulseX and Hex. So we're just trying to get that word out. So kind of a lot like your story.
That's great. Yeah.
Well, good. We've got another ally. And you're a Hexican too, when it really comes down to it.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. It's from the beginning, man. I see it all.
Yeah. You've been here from the beginning. That is, you're like one of the first people that we've ever run into that was kind of outside of the community. That was like, hey, I was in Hex. I was watching Richard from the beginning. I don't know much about all your community and everything, but glad you're here with us. And I sacrificed for PulseX. It's cool to actually run into somebody like you.
Yeah, man. Because I embrace. I think blockchain is so new that it's too early for us to just basically not be open-minded. So I work with EOS, Wax, Telos, FIO, Hex, Pulse, Bitcoin, ETH, Matic. I've done a lot of different projects and just across the board because I'm a developer, right? So, and now more as an advisor, right? Because this is what I do full time as well. I don't do anything else. And it's because I absolutely love it. Just like you, I don't have to work. I can just go outside and get in my golf cart and go play some golf. Right.
Nice.
But I choose to do this because I think blockchain is too important of a technology for us to ignore. Yes. And especially in now in Atlanta, there's a lot of potential that's just dormant. And I'd like to bring that up because I do think a lot of the students, a lot of the grassroots builders that are here could help contribute to those, next ideas that are going to be on Pulse Chain and whatever chain that they decide to select. Of course, we represent Pulse Chain, and we always tell builders to evaluate the chain that they'd like to build on for their requirements. But we mentioned Pulse Chain constantly as one that they should look into because if you're trying to build anything that's for the people, that's grassroots, that isn't centralized, I mean, you have very few options. Let's be quite frank.
Yeah.
So for the developers who are of that mindset, like they want something that is more that's designed more for what crypto represents. Who do you think I'm recommending? Pulse Chain, baby, right?
Exactly.
If you're looking for something where you want to have some centralized, support, or you think that, I don't know, whatever centralized thing matches with you, then there's other options that we can tell you about.
Yeah.
So we do make recommendations based on what these individuals want to do for themselves and their ideas. But in terms of where we are aligned, we're certainly aligned with the vision here, and we see that Pulse Chain is representative of that, neutral, fully decentralized, all is welcome chain, and that's why we're always going to support it. So I just
Awesome.
got another fat stack in June, right? Like it was 0.001, and so I'm down by 80%.
Yeah,
I'm
we're all
hoping,
down.
baby, like we're all down, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it doesn't
Well,
matter. This is how crypto works.
this is how it works. It goes down 90% every season, and then it comes back. So there's nothing new under the sun. We're playing the same game that we've played before, and it's just a matter of waiting for the market cycle to turn around.
Absolutely.
And that's where we're at. So, hey, Marlon, I cannot wait to get out there and hang out with you and come to see the center and hear you speak and we're going to hang out and have some cool VIP time together too. So that's going to be fun.
Oh
Have
yeah.
some dinner and break some bread and stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to bring on one of the other gentlemen that's going to be speaking with me this weekend. This is actually my first time meeting him. So that we can kind of yuck it up with him a little bit. If you have to go, let me know. But if you can stick around, I'll have you stick around with our buddy here and Hexagon, one of our security guys. He hangs out in the security group with one of our other guys that we have called Papa B. He's our security guru in the system here. But I'm going to bring up our buddy Metal. What's happening, dude? You got your camera to turn on, or you stuck?
Yes, yeah. What's up? Hey, how you
There
doing?
he is. What's up, Mello? How you doing, bud?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to finally have you on. I know we're going to be
We
meeting
actually
each
met.
other in
You
Atlanta.
came in the space one time. It was I think right after the movie.
Oh,
Shooting.
in one of the spaces in one of the
Yeah,
Twitter spaces.
yeah.
Well, we didn't meet. We just kind of talked to each
Properly.
other,
Yeah.
right?
How you
But
doing?
we'll be meeting this weekend for sure. Right
Most
on.
definitely. Most definitely.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the ecosystem here, and a little bit about the security background that you might have with the group there.
Well, with the community, it was a time where I was just in BNB. It was around when all the BNB scams was going on, and I was getting wrecked. And someone referred me to Richard Hart and was just telling me about, how there's hex and all of that. And I had a certified deposit coming out at that time, so I was just like, okay, let me go ahead and test it out. So I did, and it was a year, and at that time I just got in the chat. I think this was the time right before Pulse Chain sacrifice. Got in, sat in about a month maybe, and then started helping out. Papa B was a big help on getting all the information that I needed, and it wasn't too much just by listening to Walrus and a couple of other people who just it was just easy to relay that information about updates and keeping up with what Richard Hart is doing and yeah, and relaying that back to the community and also building my own community here in Atlanta as well. Um, but other than that, that's my intro to how Hex and Post Chain.
No, no. Are you familiar with the Blockchain Center? Have you ever been there? Or?
So no, they just launched I think back in last year, and it's crazy because when I found out about it, I didn't like I was shocked because that's something I'm looking for, and that's great because it aligns with what I'm trying to do and process and bring to the blockchain to actually build a bridge between developers, artists, and the community. So yeah, I'm actually about to go to my first session on Thursday.
Yeah, I was asking Mello, like, where were you, man? We've been doing this thing every single Thursday, baby.
And the crazy thing is, Twitter is so crazy that it does not. The algorithm does not align, and that's crazy
That's
how it
crazy.
doesn't.
With you
It's
guys like in each other's backyards and aligned so well with one another that
oh man,
it didn't connect you guys somehow.
oh
Took
man.
us to do it. Took the Pulse
Right,
Chain tour to
right.
get you guys together.
Exactly.
Exactly, and I think more of these in real life community events is what's going to make this community stronger. I think people should actually be more open to speak out, show their face. If they don't want to, it's fine. It's just even speaking out with the community, speaking and knowing who's out there is a wonderful thing. Um, it's about, and by the way, it's about who you know and not what you know. So
Hmm. Yeah, and and that's I've I never claimed to be the guru of this space or whatever, but I was the guy that clicked the button and said, "Hey, come on, we need the smart guys, the people that
yeah,
have something to say something," and that's what I opened the channel up. The FN Hangout, Friday Night Hangout, is a space where I open up the stream to anybody who wants to come in. We've since lately had to kind of close it off because we had a lot of trolls coming in and doing some funky stuff, but it gave all the streamers a platform to get started, to show their face, to say who they were, and that helped develop the whole, Hex YouTube ecosystem. Basically, all the streaming guys. So yeah, man, I'm all for that. To get people to just come in and speak, because again, this is a community effort, and we all have to, bring our personalities, bring our voice to the table, because not everybody's going to want to listen to Mello's going to want to listen to me, and not everyone want to listen to Marlon's going to want to listen to Mello, and so it takes all of us to resonate with everyone out there. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
all
that's
for
true.
that.
and
That's
I think
true. And even with like, from especially my role as an advisor and an incubator, it's important for us to meet the founders in real life and make those connections. There's a lot of projects that we helped launch that the founders we've never met. They were just international. They filled out applications. We vetted virtually, but that connection just wasn't there. You can't replicate that in real life connection in a digital capacity. No matter how you could try to, you can call it the metaverse, you can call it whatever the hell you want, but there's no replacing you as a founder sitting next to me talking about your idea. And all of that also increases accountability to RG and Mello. I think, um, you know, there's been a couple projects that were just abandoned completely, international projects that we help, nowhere to be found, right? And I think if that were more in person, there's a less likelihood of those things happening because there's accountability. Like I know where to find you. you know, it's
Yeah,
completely different. So I love the in real life connections and wouldn't replace
yeah,
anything.
and it's about trust, and there's a really good book I like reading out there. It's called The Speed of Trust by Stephen Covey, and it speaks of trust and how important, interrelational trust is, and you develop that by it's high fives, hugs, handshakes, and conversations. It's not this two, like you and I met, Marlon. We have met now. We know who each other are. We know what each other looks like. But it's going to be a completely different situation on Friday when we finally get to meet and we talk and we sit down and we have conversation. It's a whole different layer of relational development is going to happen when Friday comes. It's
Right.
not going to be like this conversation we're having in the 2D world. And we can scratch the surface, but nothing's going to be like the connection that we're going to make when we actually get to meet one another.
Right.
And that's important, and that's why I do the tour. I get out there and I get in front of people because this hex story, the Pulse Chain story, has to be told, and I think that it has to be told in person to person. People need to hear it. People need to bring people to it and actually hear it from somebody who's actually looking in their eyes and speaking from the heart and speaking from their mind what is going on. and explaining it. And I think that that's important when it comes to grassroots development and what we're trying to do here. And it's word of mouth, advertising. It's one person to another, bringing a friend, a family member, or somebody in who's interested in understanding what crypto is, and bringing them to somebody that they trust, that they've actually seen, listened to, heard, or actually get to see, listen to, and hear. And that's what kind of breaks the ice for people and gets people involved, is that interpersonal relationship moment that they get to share. That's why I do this.
Yeah, and I had one more point before Melo chimes in here, but I think also that, especially for us with a lot of experience, through decades in business, we know that what you present publicly could be completely different than what you are privately. And that could be for marketing reasons, whatever your reason is, right? So having that in real life connection, you get to actually meet a person and know who they are for who they are versus who they are for business purposes, or how they're portraying themselves publicly for marketing, or for whatever the reason is. Irreplaceable, man, irreplaceable. What do you think, Bello?
I think human interaction is very necessary, and I think a lot of people are scared to do that. And I don't think we will ever come to an agreement on that kind of things, because we all have our biased ways. But people reaching out and taking the initiative to, like what you do, Captain, and what other YouTubers do, and what you guys are doing with the Pulse tour, what Crypto Sparbook did with the tour in Europe. It's just I guess it touches you more when someone's in front of you showing you, than someone's behind a screen trying to explain to you what's really going on. And it's just great to see if we can come to that understanding, because I think once we spread the understanding of what we are here, what we are all here for, I think that would be a better adoption tool than trying to get people on what's next, or what's the next gem, or what's the next solution, and so forth. Um, and that's just in my opinion. I feel like that's the forward motion we should be looking at.
Yeah, okay. That's an interesting perspective. But
Yeah.
I just remember the 90s where we didn't have all these tools, man. We could, just send a message by hitting a key on a keyboard. You had to be out there.
We didn't have cell phones either. We were still using pagers back in the 90s. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that, man. Like it was yesterday.
We got desensitized. Literally,
well, we got a little spoiled having the world at your fingertips.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different world than what we lived in back then. It was a smaller world back then, or it's a smaller world now than it was back then. It was a big, the world was inaccessible to the regular guy.
But wasn't the world believable? I think a lot of more people were quick to believe into things back then. I think now more people are skeptical.
Oh, because there's so much information out there. You can cross-examine everything now, and you can get the answer that you want now. Like I can go get a yes or a no on any question that I want, and validate it with data and people, and I can go and get whatever answer I want now. It's a very odd world that we live in, and it's no longer black and white. It's everything's gray, and it's I don't know where we're going from here with all of this, but it's a very strange world that we're living in today, coming from like where Marlon and I have, I mean, we were adults, living life with jobs and families and all that kind of stuff when there was no technology like this in your pocket. When you wrote a letter to somebody to contact them.
Don't remind me, man.
And I mean, all through my military history, there were no phone calls. there was a handful of phone calls that I made for four years while I was in the Marine Corps. And it was all letters. I waited for weeks to hear from my family, my girlfriend, all that stuff. It was weeks and weeks, and I'd get the envelope, and I'd be so excited and sit there and open up the paper and read the letter over and over and over and over again. And then my response to that was to sit down and write, 3 pages of a letter to somebody and fold it up and put a stamp on it and get it in the mail. And that was the end of my communication, and very different. Like I can pick up my phone now and contact anyone in the world, any friend that I've ever known that I have on my contact list, and no matter what time of the day it is, and I have access to them. It's a very, very odd thing to think back of what we had and then what we have today.
And it's crazy to think about that because in a security standpoint, um, we've grown. People have grown to feel more secure in the times that they've built from when you guys were younger, um, and it's like now it's so hard to shift into what's going on because they need that same security, and that security is not yet developed yet, but it is there as long as they move and understand that this is a space where they have full control of their financials and movement with how they see fit with their money. And that understanding is I think growing, and I love to see it because it's great to see just all ages, all races adapt to this and be able to speak with you and Marlon just now through this StreamYard. So it's amazing to figure all this out and be a part of it. And that's I think one thing that Communify is about building developers and artists and trying to bridge them together for the community. So we have like a bunch of small tools that would be launching soon for the community for free, and all of this is just to help build and get new developers, new artists to come out and be a part of the community and be a part of what's going on instead of being in the background and just knowing you have the talents and you can do something with it. And you might not be inclined to know how to do that, but now you have this community. Like the Hex community has, I think, paved a way for um, other communities to follow in a standard of strength and builders, and like how important it is to support one another. I think we have kind of lost sight of that, but I think we are going to pick that back up, and we need to figure all of that to where we can communify better and have a better community. It basically stands for community finance, so
Mhm.
it's a derivative of DeFi, and it's still decentralized, but it's just community, and we finance together, and find ways to build a DeFi where the community has full control. Like he said, VC backed. I think that's going to always happen. But if we can get a transfer of wealth to initiate, which we are into this macroeconomics of how everything repeat itself, and if we can find that where we are now the top holders, I think the VCs coming in won't really be VCs anymore. They'll just be
Mm.
matching our energy.
Mm. Well, that's this is what I love seeing, because you don't come from our era, and our era of understanding. There's nothing new under the sun. These products that are being launched on blockchain are nothing new. The scams are nothing new. They've been being played from the beginning of time. These products, so older folks, if you're out there watching whatever, you don't have to be scared of these things. It's just a new way of doing old ideas. That's it. These The financial world is not changing. Only our products that we're using, only the ownership, only that now the public is actually going to have control of these things versus the banks and the entities and the 1% that have had control of all of this stuff and have manipulated it to their liking all of these millennia. Now we have tools that are actually being handed to us that folks like Mello are actually organically, you are understanding what these tools are being developed for. And that is the power going back into the people, usurping the power from the entities, the banks, the corporations, the 1%, taking that power away from them and giving it to the community. And like you said, we're going to make tools and give them away for free. What you're doing is you're giving the power to the people through the use of the blockchain that has been launched and given to you. And that's what this is all about. That's what this whole movement is really all about, is organically people like you are seeing what it's for. I mean, I can look at it and go, I know what it's for because I know what the history is and what's happened. But you, just out of natural ability and understanding of what is being handed to you, are going, oh, hey, this is what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to give the artists the opportunity to cut out all the middlemen and go and do their own thing, because now they have a platform and a tool that they could reach the world with and actually go and build on their own without being ripped off, lied to, cheated on. Because that's what was going on with artists for millennia, is that the middlemen were jumping in and ripping them off. I mean, look at all the famous folks. Look at all of them that have passed on, that we've lost, because their lives were just utterly destroyed. I mean, look at Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, all of these people that the vultures came in. I mean, even people like you can see Mike Tyson's story and what happened to him. You know, in a way, you know, he was an artist himself, and he didn't have control of his own abilities and his own marketing and his own success. That was leached off of by other people, by these vultures that have been leeching off of people for years and years and years. Now the power is going back to the folks, back to the artist, back to the entertainer, back to the producer, to whoever is putting the content out, and giving it to them and giving the power to them. And people like you are actually seeing it and just, you know, boom, it's instant. We're getting it done. You know, I really love this game. I love what's going on. And it's a true revolution. It really is. And now that the DeFi tools are here, it's game on. It is game on.
Oh yeah, I agree with that 100%. You know, we remember when the first phases of websites came out. You could only read it. You couldn't even.
Oh, they were worth. Everyone was going crazy. It was just one page. There was no click anything. Man. It was just pets.com was like the thing.
That's it. You could just read. You couldn't even interact with it. You couldn't enter your name in any forms. And then HTML forms came out, and that's when it started becoming more interactive, right? You could put in your name and hit a submit button, and that was wow, you know. But
and it would spit an email back out. Wow.
Right. But unbeknownst to us, you know, is what was really happening behind the scenes is that, you know, the centralized entities creating these products and services was slowly collecting all of that data, right, on us and our interactions, and they were monetizing it in the back end. I mean, if you look at all of the large companies today, how are they generating revenue? I mean, they're monetizing our data, right? Data is king, and these guys have been amassing our data for decades, and there's no wonder that their founders are billionaires. Right. So, you know, we see Web3 and crypto as the answer to all of that. Like, the power is coming back to us, right? It's coming back to us. So we get to decide how our data is shared. If it's shared, we get to self-custody our own funds. I got to tell you, I just recently over the summer tried to do a transaction. I had to go into Chase, and I went into Chase. And I had a tough time because first I had to wait for the manager. So I'm sitting there and I have a large amount in this account. I'm sitting there and I'm already pissed off because it's like 10, 15 minutes. And I'm just sitting here waiting to get a wire transfer sent that I couldn't do online because of the amount. And the manager comes in, and we had a tough time getting the wire done. You know what she had to do? She literally had to call in to the to some central customer service. I'm in the branch, and the branch manager is calling in for customer service to complete my wire transfer, and I'm in there for like an hour. I mean, they didn't help me earn those funds in any capacity. So what role do they have in telling me how I could use and when I could use my own funds? It's pathetic. So blockchain technology is the answer to all of that. And it's the blockchains that aren't controlled by the VCs and centralized institutions that really represents the Web3 decentralized future that we're talking about right now. It isn't the quasi-centralized and quasi-decentralized and we're sufficiently decentralized. It's the ones that are at launch, not centralized, right? There isn't a single entity that could just cut off, block production, so transactions are stuck, right? It's just, it's just ridiculous, really. And that's one of the things I love about this ecosystem. And it's just an exciting time to be a part of it, because you got to remember too that there's over $100+ trillion in assets under management just by the top 500 or so asset managers. That's over $100 trillion that haven't even gone into this ecosystem yet. We're at a $1 million market cap right now. You know how much wealth is about to come into this ecosystem over time if you could just hold on, be patient, stop trying to get a Lambo money in 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? And just hang in there.
That's what I don't understand. Like, you and I remember savings accounts and, writing your balance down in the sheet and whatnot. And people get into crypto and they expect to be multimillionaires in a matter of 6-8 months. It's like, hey, I've waited long enough, haven't I? And it's like, wait a minute, you waited a year for a product to come out or 2 years for a product to come out. It comes out, it's 4 months old, and you're upset that it's not, pumped you 200x or 100x or something like that. And it's like, those are just not realistic. Are they possible numbers? Yes, they're possible because this is crypto. Crypto's, wild and sporadic and has, higher highs and lower lows. But that's not reality. The reality in the real investment world is, a 1x or 2x your money in 5 to 10 years is a very reasonable return, versus the stuff that we're seeing in crypto and what people are expecting. So I think if people lower their expectations a little bit, hold on a little while longer and just let, Scooter show you what it's going to do, you'd be in a much happier place versus, there's people, ready to jump out of buildings right now, a 2-year bear market. So, people need to be a little more patient, understand that it takes time, and understand that this is all secular. It's all cyclical. And there's reasons why the charters use the Fibonacci and all this stuff, because all of these things that happen in cycles are really human nature. Humans operate in cycles. Everything goes in cycles, and we're just going through another cycle right now, and it will come back. It will return. We will see brighter days, and we will see a bull market again. It's not like a bear market's going to last forever. It feels like it, but it's just about, being patient and then doing the right things during the bear market. There's times to fish and there's time to cut bait. And right now we need to be, cutting bait. It's time to get our knowledge into the heads of the people that are going to be, look, everybody here's phone's going to ring in 6 to 8 months when the bull market's coming. And your mom, your uncle, your next door neighbor, your best friend are all going to be wanting to get into that hex thing or that next L1 or whatever it is. And they want you to tell them all about it. And they want you to get them in now. Hurry up. It's going up, and we've all got those phone calls in the bull markets, and we're about to get them again. But what should we be doing? Right now, we should be putting people in front of the information, getting them prepared, letting them know that the prices are down, that this is the time that they should be investing. If you're going to call me in 6 months, we should talk right now. That's the things responsible people in this space should be doing right now, is talking to all the people that they're going to network with anyway, and start bringing them to events like the Pulse Chain Tour. Start getting them to the Blockchain Center. Start letting them understand what's going on during a bear market so they can see what it looks like when they have to feel it, another 3 years from now when it goes down again. This is the time for education. This is time for cutting bait. This is the time for teaching, educating, and getting our own bags, our own affairs, and everything in order, because the bull market's coming. And when it comes, all hell breaks loose, and we're all busier than can be. And that's when the phone starts ringing.
Absolutely. And I think the importance of diversifying is important too. And I know you guys are gonna share that when the bull market is here, you got to take some profits and diversify.
Got to take profits.
Yeah.
Got to take profits.
Patience is important.
I think that's like the biggest thing with like taking profits is a major thing, because people need to position themselves for, you know, any moment, like, and keep stables tucked, because DCA is also your friend. So you need to
Mhm.
make sure you're ready for any substantial dip that you're looking for. Um, things of that nature actually is great. I think the cycles, you have to go through a couple cycles to learn. I think you have to get wrecked to learn. I think those teach you how not to do, like, just like how we were kids. You touch a fire, you burn your hand, and you're not going to touch it no more because you just burnt your hand. So I think that psychologically, that's human nature, and we are going to we are going to chase, and how to chase securely is, think, if we can keep everybody secure and chase proper things and understand, like, I think that understanding of what they're chasing and why they're chasing it, um, I think needs to be picked, shine a light upon, because it takes a lot to bring, how can I say this, to make someone understand, money, or how to make money, because that person is only going to go by their risk tolerance, and
Mhm.
their risk tolerance is, or different, everybody's risk tolerance is different. So based off their risk tolerance, they need to know how much they can go in, how much
Mm.
they're willing to lose, because at the end of the day, this is a market, and this market is with a bunch of users, and like you said, people get emotional. It's a like, people use this market trends to picture what people are going to do, and it repeats itself. So um, people need to understand that. I think that's a big thing that we are missing out on. A lot of people are missing out on, and maybe in the coming times, we'll figure it out.
Well, therein lies the hard part of this, and that's each individual investor. When people are getting into this as an investment, and they're not necessarily a developer or whatever. Now we're talking about people and their finances and whatnot. That's where it gets tricky, because everybody is different. There are married people, there's single people, there's older people, there's younger people, there's people with higher risk tolerance, lower risk tolerance. You've got people that can put more money in, less money, and everybody has a different story. And then a lot of people overextend themselves, thinking that they're going to be the next multi-millionaire, billionaire, whatever. And then the bear market wrecks them. And that's why I say getting somebody in the bear market and helping them to understand their risk level, their risk tolerance, their entry level, and their exit procedures is important. And that's why we, as an organic community, have to, because there's really no safe place to send somebody. I mean, what do? You send them to a YouTuber and they end up start looking at charts and start running the trading game, or they get into
Yeah.
a centralized staking platform or something like that, and then they end up getting rugged, or they get into the wrong coin. So how do we responsibly bring our onboards in and teach them the right ways? Teach them the ways of, hey, you hold decentralized cryptos, that that make yield. How do you do that? Well, there's only a couple of them that we know about that you can do that with. And there's in fact only one that I know that you can draw yield on just with a decentralized immutable platform, and that's Hex. So, we have to, that's a tricky spot. You can't teach that online, because then you're in trouble. And sitting down and being the responsible person with your onboards is really about all it's at. And so it's a tricky situation there to help people with their finances in that way. But people do need to understand this is a volatile space, that they need to be extremely cautious. Don't put in more than you can afford to lose. Because if you put the rent money in and you're in a bear market for 3 years, you're in trouble. You're in trouble, and you can't.
And
put
also
people in that position.
diversify and DCA. Like that's two things I think when looking at certain aspects of risk tolerance, those two help out a lot. But research and research and research. It's a lot of check and verifies that you have to do within this space, and understanding that, like you said, volatility is crazy out here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and 99% of stuff is garbage.
It is.
For me, it's always been, especially earlier on, a bit difficult to tell people how to invest in crypto, because for the people that I have recommended earlier on that didn't really understand the space and the volatility of it, the minute the token went down, my phone's ringing. Right? It's my fault. And that made me sort of go into a shell in terms of sharing, from an investment perspective, what the opportunities were, because
Mhm.
it takes a certain type of individual to really tolerate this space, and you have to have a certain level of knowledge, right? It's some of the things that you guys just mentioned, and that's why I respect the hell out of the Pulse Chain Tour. I mean, you guys are the constituents in these cities aren't paying you a dime in terms of just getting you there. You guys came up with the idea, the initiative, and the onus is on you now to really spread the gospel of crypto and how it can transform their lives. And that's a huge undertaking, because again, for me, my personal experience was just getting that phone call the minute the market goes down. So what I what I do now is I just send them resources like, hey, here are the basic things that you got to understand. You got to understand self custody, right? That's absolutely important. Before you even buy a dime of Bitcoin or Hex or Pulse or whatever you want, you got to understand how to manage that on your own, because you do not want to keep it on Coinbase. That's what most of the people that I recommended early on did, right? And we're in the US, so that's like mostly the go-to for a lot of them. So you got to understand self-custody, number one. Once you have a pretty solid grasp of that, then you should start investing, and start with, I usually just recommend start with Bitcoin. Just
The
get
blue
$5
chips, yeah.
just to see how it works, and kind of get experience with it, only because it's the first, and it's like what most people hear about. And once you get a little familiarity, you've sent it, here and there, maybe to a friend, and you know how to send, you know how to receive, because you got to know you can't type in those long string of numbers and letters that you see on the wallet, because your funds will be lost forever. And there's no tech support that you can call to get your funds back. So, I just teach them the basics and of self custody and money management, and just how to how this is completely different than traditional banking, before I get into the recommendation of actual projects. So that's been my approach, but it's mostly
Exactly.
changed over time, based on, which is what we all do, right? We adapt and shift and adjust based on our experience with things.
And based on the person.
I got tired of those calls, man. I did. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to have these guys calling me whenever the freaking market goes down. Just wait a minute. It's going to come back. But they just don't, most people just don't have that tolerance.
They don't. It is not for the weak at heart. Crypto is not for the weak at heart. That is for sure, because it will shock you and then it will shock you again. When you think you've been shocked enough, it will shock you again.
Oh, yeah.
In both ways, and that's why those people call us and want to get
over and over again,
because they see those 10x, 100x, 1000x gains, and it's too compelling. It's too interesting. The curiosity kills them. They got to get in. They got to get in. They want the expensive stuff too. When it's expensive, boy, they want it more than anything else. When it's cheap, you can't give this stuff away when it's cheap. Boy, they don't want it when it's cheap. Like Hex is under a penny. They don't want it. They just, that thing is 90% down. I ain't going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. No way. So, yeah. Well, gentlemen, we've gone over an hour. I could talk to you guys for multiple hours. I appreciate you both coming on. Can't wait till this weekend at the Atlanta Blockchain event. Guys, listen,
be fun.
Can we throw the Pulse Chain Tour logo down at the bottom so everybody understands where we're going to be at? You guys can catch, I think we posted all of his, you can catch Marlon at, is it atlantachain.io? Is that where the blockchain center is? Atlantachain.io.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your company is Starter Labs, right?
Right. That's the parent company. Yeah.
Okay. So the parent company is starterlabs.xyz. You can see what they got going on over there. Do you have what's your social media on Twitter? I think you are.
Yes. It's at Marlon Williams and at Atlanta Chain, at Starter Labs HQ. I do want to give a quick shout out to one project called Project Pi that's building for the decentralized future. And RG, I can't wait to show you what the device looks like. I think it's something that the community is gonna love, decentralizing the validator component of Pulse Chain. And that's one of the companies we're incubating. So, when you get here, the founders, you'll meet them in person.
Very cool.
And it's a great example of why we do what we do. It's just grassroots builders trying to make a difference and contribute positively.
That's dope.
So
right on. I can't wait.
Invite for the Thank you so much.
Thanks. And thanks for giving us a place to speak and giving us a friendly place to speak. Usually we're in a hotel, these people don't know us from Adam, and now we're actually at a blockchain center with somebody who understands Hex, Pulse, and Pulse. It's going to be great. Can't wait. And you're going to speak with us too, right? You're going to get up and
absolutely, and
chop it up. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, everybody.
I'm here for you guys. I'm here for the week. Whatever you need, whatever resource we have at our disposal that you guys need, we're here. You got the whole city, man.
Right on. Hey, did they close down Gladys? I was looking up, Gladys Nights. That's one of my favorite places to eat when I used to go to Atlanta. They close it down?
Yeah. Oh. I think it's over with now, man.
I think they opened something else in replace of it. But
their catfish baskets were the best, man, and the biscuits and the chicken and waffles. I'm a soul food, freak, and yeah, man. So maybe you can recommend something that's better or comparable to Gladys' place. I was like heartbroken. I'm looking it up. I'm like, okay, well, where's Gladys? They move it, or her son was like caught embezzling money and all this stuff. I'm like, oh no. Food was so good too. So anyway, maybe you can recommend a good soul food place for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got Black Mexican. Shout out to you guys in SJ. They've already messaged me like, hey, where are the hot spots for food? So you're
that's our thing. We're either going to a concert. We went and saw LL Cool J in North Carolina and Charlotte when we were there this last couple weeks ago. Cool. Yeah. They're doing the 50 years of hip hop thing. And it was Jazzy Jeff. There was a whole bunch of them were there, and LL Cool J. It was a good gig. So we try and catch something. Black Mexican, she went and saw Beyonce at the one before that in Chicago. We're always going to some concert. or something out there while we're in town. So that'll be cool. So hopefully we can hook up with something like that, or at least go get some good food.
Absolutely,
Hey,
absolutely.
Well, the food is
Mello,
here. The food
yeah,
is
let
here.
everybody know who you are and where you can be found, so they can catch you. And Mello's going to be speaking with us also at the Atlanta event, so you can catch him there. So if you're in the Atlanta area, get your tickets on pulsechaintour.com so you can come hang out with us. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mello.
My Twitter is Crypto Pulsinator, PLSinator. You can just find me on there. I basically hold spaces every Friday for artists and developers that are coming to build on Pulse Chain. I kind of go out and venture to different chains, um, looking for different artists and try to communicate and try to bridge that gap, bridge them in. Actually, we had a couple artists come in and build already on Pulse Chain. So yeah, we have some good adoption going on. So yeah, Fridays 4:20 p.m. we just hold spaces, and every night here and there just vibe out, look at the charts, and figure out all the opportunities that are available for Pulse Chain, and try to come up with different ideas, different tools to build and further this chain. We already have a free new scan. I don't know if you've checked it out. It's a whole block explorer, runs fast, pretty.
Yes, I
Yes, it's called scan.9mm.pro,
mm-hmm.
and it's a great tool. It's already ready. Um,
Wait, you
so
guys created that?
no, it's another team from the Tang Gang. So
Okay.
the Tang Gang is basically another version of community groups coming together and building. So yet again, that's just an output of 9mm. It's actually bringing a Uniswap V3 Dex to
Gotcha.
Pulse Chain. So that's going to be good LP providing as well
Yeah,
on there.
and that single-sided liquidity providing that V3
Yep.
provides. That'd be cool too.
Yep.
Their off-board platform. Right on, gentlemen. Well, thank you very, very much. Appreciate you both. Can't wait to see you all this weekend. We're going to have a great time. Everybody, we'll see you. I'm going to be on Coffee Show tomorrow afternoon. All week, I'm going to be on somebody's show. Wednesday, probably not going to be doing the Wednesday show with Famous, and the FN Hangout. That's going to be in Atlanta. So hopefully I'll have somebody help run the show, and we'll get that popping. All right, everybody. Thanks guys for coming. I'll see you on this weekend in
Thanks.
Atlanta. See ya.
Yes, sir. See